Good morning, everyone. Sue Paulson here, your magnificence mentor. And we're here today with the healing call of cancer. A mentor of mine reminded me the other day of the power of words, and also reminded me of my huge love of putting words together and how it's been a talent and a skill of mine for many, many years. So we were looking at this whole concept of words in the context of people's stories. So one of the most important things that I ever heard was someone who quoted, "All we are is story." And when I think about that, when I think about the lives we've lived and the lessons that we've learned along the way, it's all story. It's all about story. So today I wanted to talk about the power of story in relation to healing in your own life. Now, if you've, like me, have had a cancer diagnosis and you're on the other side of it, struggling to rework your life, rebuild your life, make sense of your life, whatever that looks like for you, I'm going to invite you to use the tool that I use that helped me begin to make sense of it all, help me to put it all into perspective and to really find the keys that I was looking for. And that, of course, is the power of journaling. Well, when I had my near-death experience in 2007, I journaled afterwards because really for my whole life, anytime I hit a point where I just can't make sense of something for me, whether it's emotion going on inside me, an event that's happened, whatever it is, if I'm wrestling with something that maybe I talk to a couple of other people and I still can't make sense of it, and I read books and I can't make sense of it even more, and so I'm lost. So then I pick up my pen and I start writing. And many years ago, when I was going through my first divorce, I was young, in my 20s, and I thought, I don't even know, I don't know why this all fell apart. I don't know what love is, and I don't even know if I love myself. So I started a little journal that I called Learning to Love Susan. And every day that I felt compelled, I'd sit down with my pen, and usually it was in one of those moments of despair. Oh, life is awful. I don't know how to make sense of this, and I feel so bad. Well, then I'd write, and I'd write, and I'd write. Well, after 2, 3, 4, sometimes 6 pages, I'd start to feel much better. And in a very odd way, the flavor of the writing would transform from being very bleak at the beginning to a shift in either more understanding or some soothing or something that would lift me up and help me carry on. Now, I didn't know much about this process at the time. I just felt compelled to do it, to pour myself out onto the page, because at least I could listen to it. I could read it. And it was just for me. It was a very personal kind of journey that I was on. Well, then years later, and I guess every time I hit that rocky road in my life, back I would go into my journal to just let it go and put it out there and try to make sense of it. So it was no surprise to me that I felt compelled again in 2007 to start writing about what this was like for me. And when I reviewed my journal after the fact, wow, I was feeling bad. There were lots of rough moments, those lower than a snake's belly moments where I didn't know how I was going to get myself out of things, but I just kept writing. Then, of course, when I got the cancer diagnosis, I had this sense that it was going to be important for me to write about it as I was going through it. Now, I didn't write every day, but I wrote when I felt, oh, this is hard, this is awful, this is, you know, it was the whole Dear Diary thing, as if the diary was the living listener for me. And it helped. It helped a lot. I didn't know what was going to be the result of all of that once I kept writing, because it was just for me. It was a very personal thing, and it meant a lot that I had put it down. And quite honestly, I didn't reread it for some time after that. So it wasn't until I actually decided that maybe I needed to share my story publicly, maybe I needed to write a book, that I went back into my journals. So, and I'm not the only one, because I came across, after I had published Magnificent Misery, that's this book. After I had published this book, Magnificent Misery, From Adversity to Ecstasy, I came across at a book signing another woman whose name was also Sue, and she wrote about her own journey. So this is a cool little book. It's not very thick. You can see mine isn't very thick either, but this is her story. Just married and newly pregnant, Sue finds a lump in her breast. This is her intimate diary. And the title, Do You Still Have Cleavage with Just One Breast? So she and I had very different experiences in relation to the kind of cancer that we had, but nonetheless significant. So what I want to really encourage you to do is to write your story, because not only there's a couple of reasons. There's a personal, selfish reason for yourself that I'm suggesting that you do this. And that's because when you write, you can get stuff down on the page that maybe you didn't even know was there. So it enables you to pull it up from the depths, and then you have something tangible that you can go back to and think about and mull over and re-experience, or shed tears, or whatever it is that you need to do to release whatever has been kind of stuck and bound up inside, because it's a big journey, and you can't take it all in one big breath, or one big gulp, or one big moment. It's meant to be lived, and in reliving it on the paper, it enables you to revisit it whenever you choose. Now, one of my goals in journaling for myself was I really wanted to learn whatever lessons. I knew there were lessons for me in this experience. I knew there were gifts to come out of it. I just couldn't see what they were. And it seemed like it took a long time before they revealed themselves. But it helped to write about it, because then there was that determination that no matter which way the path took me, I could get to that destination of, all right, what was this all about anyway? So that's the most important internal reason why I'm recommending that you journal, that you share your story with yourself, that you put it into a structure that you can then go back to. People say to me, well, I'm not a writer, I can't do that. Well, if you can talk, you can write. All right. Now, so you don't have to write it if you don't want to. You can record it. I mean, I have a little record device on my phone that I can hit the button and just talk away to my heart's content, whatever's on my mind, and then I can download it, the recording, to my computer and save it. So you can talk it. You don't have to quotes write if you don't feel that writing is your thing. So the point is to share your story. The point is to document what's going on for you, and whatever thoughts you have about that, the good, the bad, the ugly, the amazing, the whole gamut. All right. Now, there's a second reason, and this, I confess, was definitely secondary to my whole doing this for myself. And the second reason was, if other people could benefit from what I had gone through, if I could save even one person from not having to go through the nightmare of cancer, like they would get what their life was all about and work on it sooner, and didn't need the hard lesson that for me was cancer, then I want to pay it forward. I want to share what I know, share with what I can support people with. And so that was, and really that was the impetus for writing the book, was to say, all right, let me put this out there. It's raw, it's real, it's vulnerable. It was hard. And I confess that as I was putting it into book form, I cried a lot. I wept for hours, because rereading those journals and re-experiencing what I had already gone through once was hard. It brought back memories I didn't want to think about. It brought back the experience all over again. And yet, as I got through it, so it took some time. There were times when I had to just put it down and not do any more with it, because it overwhelmed me. It was difficult. But I got through it. And what I realized is that each time I would reread the journal and go through that memory of the experience again, it was less hard and less hard and less hard, so that eventually it became just something that happened to me. And I didn't have the same emotional hit that it had had, first of all, going through it, and then reading about it the first time, and then reading about it the second time, and then formatting things. And now it's my story, but it's not who I am. It's what happened to me, but it no longer plays that centralized role in my life. I've been able to let a lot of the anguish and the angst about that go. So it's a lifting up. So there's, and I have had feedback from people who've read my book, some people that I knew, and many who were total strangers, who said, wow, Sue, that was so inspiring, what you wrote. And I'm, oh, okay, cool. I mean, I hope that would happen, but I didn't know. And really, I had my own, selfish, what I consider to be a selfish reason for putting it out there. And the other part of it was that I felt compelled to. There was no, this book wanted to be born, and there was no stopping it, regardless of how uneasy I was, or I remember distinctly the moment that I was to hit the print button on Amazon for them to accept the manuscript in its entirety and download it for the world. And I paused and I thought, am I really going to do this? Do I really want this out to the world? Like people I don't even know are going to know more about me than my own family knows about me. And there's some things in there that my family doesn't know. So it gave me pause, and I was edgy about it. I thought I could turn back right now. I could leave this in the drawer. I don't need to put it out there. Well, then of course, in the next second, I'm going, well, I do. This was my commitment. This is one of the gifts that I felt I could give to the world. And so I hit the button. But whew, it wasn't without some trepidation for sure. And believe me, it was, I was edgy about feedback that I would get from those I knew and those that I didn't know in relation to, well, what do you think about this book? Kind of thing. However, all my fears around that were unfounded, and it has had the desired impact that I had wanted, to be a resource for people, to share openly, not in a very, I find that so often when I'm talking to other sufferers who've experienced cancer, they're very quiet about it. Most of them just say, well, I just want to get on with my own life. I don't want to think about it anymore. I had it, it's done, it's over with, and I just want to leave it behind. Well, and fair enough, if that's, but why do you want to leave it behind? Why would such a significant thing in your life not have an impact, as if it was, oh, well, I was in a car accident once and that's all over with? And so, well, everything means something. We go through things for a particular reason. So I guess for those of you who want to plumb the depths, because it's not everybody wants to do this, and fair game, you know, but there's such fear around cancer, and there's such a reluctance to speak openly about it, as if people are ashamed to say, yeah, well, I had cancer. Well, yeah, well, people have heart attacks, people have strokes, people have, you know, well, there's all kinds of adversity out there. Bad things happen to people. And unless we can talk about it, unless we can shine some light on the darkness that is that particular topic, how are we ever going to get through it with grace, with ease, with dignity, with whatever it is, with the lessons that we were meant to get from it? So the journaling, and let me say, not everybody's destined to, quotes, write a book. I'm not saying that you have to write a book. If you want to, well, I can help you with that. But the most important part, I think, is the journaling. Is you can keep this as private or make it as public as you want. I think the important thing is to start writing about it in whatever way, shape, fashion works for you. It will be a legacy, if for no other people in your life but for your loved ones, because they don't know the stories unless we tell them. And when we're gone, when you know, our physical bodies have gone back to the earth, it's a shame to have the stories go with them, when in fact, I don't know about you, but I have some long-lived relatives who have amazing stories about things they went through in their lives. And because it wasn't really done to talk about those stories, it was just, well, I'm living my life, and it starts here and it's going to end here, and whatever happened in between, well, that was my life. But when they start sharing the stories, you go, wow, that's a way different life than what I've lived. But if they don't talk, if you don't encourage them to talk, then those stories are gone. And you think, well, I wonder what great Aunt Bessie felt about this. And unless somebody has shared that story with you, you don't know. So there could have been something that you could have gleaned out of that in understanding why you are the way you are and how you got to be where you are today. Because a lot of what happens to us comes from our past, and that ancestral line in struggles and challenges and whatever's good about life. So that's what I wanted to talk about today, was the power in sharing your story, the power for you as the individual, because it enables you to really put the whole matter to rest at some point, where you say, yeah, that happened to me, and here was what was bad about it, here what was ugly about it, but wow, look at what was good about that. This is how I was able to move forward. So take some time to think about that, and I really encourage you to get out pen and paper, or on your computer or your tablet, or whatever it is that is your favorite communication device, speaking it into a recorder, whatever, and get those thoughts in order, and really talk about all of it, because I think you'll find there'll be a lovely release in all of that eventually. Not maybe in the first 20 minutes, but it will set you on a path of self-discovery and exploration that's going to be vital to you tapping into the magnificence that you are, and for you to live your brand of heaven on earth, whatever that is. It's an opportunity to take that part of what you've experienced and transform it into something that serves you well for the rest of your days on planet Earth. You know you are magnificent enough to do this, so just get out that pen and start writing. If you're finding some benefit from the Healing Call of Cancer, I invite you to subscribe to my channel, to share it with others that it might be of benefit to. And of course, you can always find more content to uplift and inspire you on my app, The Magnificence Mentor. Become a member and enjoy all the benefits that are there for you. In the meantime, take good care. We'll see you next week.